Oh, hello, sweet friends. Welcome back to the conversation. I am solo, which is a rare occurrence on this podcast. And my intention is to actually bring more of these episodes in. I went a little haywire and really excited about bringing in guests that I was excited about. And I've had so much fun doing it. And um, I also have stuff I want to talk about that's just me jamming with you. So that's going to be coming. This is an off the cuff, uh, one-to-one conversation that I feel like having. And it came to me yesterday where I don't even know really what triggered it in my mind. There was something in the ethers about being a good human and something else in the ethers about being the good girl. And something sparked in me and I was like, oh, holy shit. Yeah, we blanket statement for a lot of women nowadays, these days, we're like healing from, or we're disentangling from this pressure, sometimes spoken, sometimes unspoken pressure to be the quote unquote good girl. And that looks like a ton of different things. For some people, it's staying a virgin. For some people, it's being nice to everybody. For some people, it's, listening, and I'll even use the word like obeying men or people of authority or people who are older than you or whatever, fill in the blanks. There's many ways that we've learned to play the good girl. I know that me personally, the good girl role has showed up in my life as long as I can remember. For as long as I can remember, I think back to like my teen years when, a lot of my friends are relatively disrespectful actually to their parents and just kind of doing whatever the hell they want to do. And that was not my vibe. Now, I respected my parents so much. I only lived with my mom. I saw my dad on, every other weekend. So really, I'm mostly thinking my mom. I don't know if it's that I feared her or that I respected her, but I would tell her where I was going, what I was doing. Well, okay, I wouldn't always tell her the truth about those things, but when I wasn't doing things I shouldn't be doing, I would like leave a note or I would call and be like, this is what time I'm going to be here. I'll be back at this time. Like I was really clear, just to make sure that everyone was comfortable, everyone knew what was going on, nobody was left worrying. I was really aware of how other people might be feeling. It showed up in how I would dress around certain people. I loved fashion and I liked being a bit edgy. And I would maybe dress scandalously sometimes, but I would never leave the house like that. And if I was going to be around parents or people who were older than me, I would cover up out of nervousness of them thinking I was like a bad girl. I never, one time I did, but I like would never sneak into a bar. I just would never. I was good. I was so nervous about getting in trouble. I was so nervous about any of my friends' parents thinking I was bad or trouble or up to no good or disrespectful. And that carried through then into my career. Like when I think back to being a personal trainer, I would do anything. As a client, you could message me at any time and I would just answer, I would support, I would go out of my way. And that is very much people pleasing, which is also very much being the good girl, right? It's taking care of people. It's making sure that you're never saying no to people. You're always available. You're always happy to help. You're always there. And that left me very unboundaried and ultimately feeling really disempowered. Because if I actually paused and considered what I wanted, it would be to do none of that shit. But I was so nervous that people would think something of me and they would maybe tell people what they thought. And heaven forbid somebody have a thought about me that doesn't paint me in a really bright, beautiful light. And that's this connection, this attachment to being the good girl. You know, in sexual relationships, and this is so layered, but I was probably actually, if I think about it, pretty vanilla for a while because I didn't want to maybe suggest something that they didn't want, or I didn't want to come across like I was slutty, right? Because that word is so bad. It's not, if you're not watching the video and you're not seeing the quotations, like, anyways, that's a whole other conversation, the word slut and what that actually, uh, you know, means. Yeah, I was just so nervous about coming across any way other than sweet and nice and good. And if I think about it, when we're so connected and attached to playing this role or any role, but we're talking about the good girl role right now. When we attach to playing that role, what we do is we detach from our authenticity. We detach from our truest sense of self. We detach from our truth. And so there's friction there. There's an internal friction where we just aren't, we're not aligned to self. We're not, there's a mismatch. And when there's a mismatch, when there's friction, there's a part of us that's going to start to be pretty pissed. And for me, that part would show up in just really snappy answers, most often with like my closest friends or maybe even just one, like my best friend who I lived with for a really long time, and boyfriends. And it would come out in ways where it was so not appropriate, like the level of snap I would have, the level of annoyance or anger that I would have about something. It didn't make sense because it was deeper, because it actually rooted for me not being attached to my truest self. And so then we start to become, not our greatest self. We aren't showing up in our brightest of bright. We're not showing up open heart, like, yeah, like here to shine love and light and rainbows on people. We're showing up as this fragmented piece of, or part of self, excuse me. And when the real goal is like, can we just be good people? Can I just be a good human rather than the good girl? Can I be a good human? And part of being a good human, or maybe like the only part of being a good human, is to have a really deep, meaningful relationship with ourself. And that's knowing what you stand for and what you don't stand for, knowing your boundaries, knowing your personal capabilities, knowing that your body knows how to heal itself, knowing that your problems or the parts of you that are deemed not good enough, or I don't know, too much, or whatever the stories, whatever the wording we have about what's wrong with us, it's understanding that actually, no, none of that shit is wrong with me. And taking time to honor and acknowledge these parts and actually bring love to them so that they no longer are in this pain place and we're no longer attached to those stories. It's showing up in trust of self. It's trusting ourself. It's connecting to that wisdom. It's connecting to the intuition. It's connecting to our voice. It's connecting to the love that we have inside of us, not only to give to others, but also to like really feel within ourselves. And I feel really passionate about this because I was so disconnected from it, because I was so concerned with being this really good girl and making sure that everyone thought I was good, everything was good, when the truth of the matter is shit was going sideways inside And I had this version of myself just crawling, wanting to like crawl out of my skin to be like, this is me. Like I want out. And it was breath work ultimately that allowed me to climb out of that and to really meet myself for the first time and start to detach from all of the stories, all of the roles that I was playing, all of the old stuff that was causing that internal friction. And it's been both epic and challenging. Like this kind of work is not, it's not light, it's not super easy. It involves really deep intentionality where we're like showing up because we know it's worth it. And I'm so grateful for it. And I see it in my clients. I see it all the time. And it just evolves every time we step into practice with ourselves. Every time there's a deepening, there's a new layer, there's more capacity for the self to be here, for all parts of self to be here, for the really messy, wild, edgy, chaotic parts of us, for the really angry parts of us, for the really fiery parts of us, for the really sexual parts of us, for the really playful parts of us. We create so much capacity so that all parts of us always feel totally welcome. There's like no judgment. We understand, right? If a big anger comes up, there's wisdom now. We're like, I understand where that comes from. Okay, and I don't even need to try to do anything about it. I'm going to honor that it's here and understand where it comes from. And just that simple presence with self can actually really diffuse the whole situation. And so, can we just be a good human? Can we just be a good human? And I really do believe that being a good human really starts with a connection to self so that you know you have a radar, you know how you show up in the world. Because if we're disconnected from that true, authentic part of us, we're lost. And when we get lost, we get scared. And when we get scared, we get panicky. And then we get short. And then we get angry. And then we snap. And we don't need to. We don't need to make things harder than they need to be. So that's my piece. I hope it lands. I'd be curious to hear from you. If you want to find me on the Instagram land, that would be great. Let me keep this conversation going at the sacred_essentials. And I'm going to drop that in the show notes so you can just click it if you're not already following me. Yeah, breath work, the bee's knees. I love it so much. Right now, actually, I'm not entirely sure when this is going to come out. I think this is coming out on the 17th of July. And that means we have 2 days until the doors to the Essentials closes. And the Essentials is my breathwork membership. If you're new to my world, and I just think the breathwork membership is the place to be. The Essentials is like the one-stop shop to everything you need to start deepening that relationship. And I'm closing the doors to register on the 19th of July. So ways to join are you can come month to month, no contract. It's $55 a month. It's a no-brainer. Or you can come in for 3 months or 6 months, or you can come in for the whole year. And right now until the 19th, when you come for 3, 6, or 12 months, I am going to throw in 2 really good bonuses for you. One of which is a free ticket to the virtual retreat called The Exhale, which is happening on July 27th. So it's a $165 value. You're going to get that for free. And you're also going to get for free, it's like a brand new kind of top secret somatic tool kit that I'm creating. It's going to come out in August. And that's a $97 value. So you get both of those for coming in on either a 3, 6, or 12 month membership. Yes. Okay. Oh, extra bonus. If you come in for the year, you get the Essentials Oracle deck. So this is a really fun Oracle deck that I made that has a QR code on the back of each card with your meditations and breathwork practices, so that you no longer have to like decide what practice you want to do. You just shuffle your cards, pull one, take your camera on your phone, scan the QR code, and it'll take you directly to your practice of the day. And those decks are getting such great reviews. People are loving the simplicity of it. It's like, I don't even have to think. I just shuffle, tune into spirit, pull a card, scan it, voila, there's my practice. So that's all available for you if you come in and join us before the 19th. And if you are listening to this after the 19th, There are other beautiful ways that I can support you. Link to my website is in the show notes. Love you to the end of the moon. Ciao for now.